Hello, my name is Mr. Polk and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'd like to show you how to make orange cranberry scones. And these are great because they only use a couple ingredients and they turn out really nice. They have just a nice little bit of crust to them and a little bit of the milk and the sugar on top. They turn out great. So to get started, we'll take the bowl from our KitchenAid mixer. And this recipe is unique. It uses 2 flours. We're going to put in 5½ ounces of AP flour and then 5½ ounces of bread flour. And then with that, we're going to put in 2.75 weight ounces of our sugar, and then about a ½ teaspoon of the salt. And then what's really going to make it work is 4½ teaspoons of the baking powder. So we're going to take that and we're going to put that into our mixer and just sort of mix it around to get it incorporated. So the next step in mixing the scones is to just put the mixer on stir and just mix it until the flour and the sugar and everything is combined, all the different flours. And then when you're done, go ahead and turn the mixer off. And then what we want to do is add our 2 more ingredients. We want to put in our 6 ounces of our dried cranberries, and then we want to do the zest of an orange. And you can just zest it right into the bowl. You can take the bowl out, whatever is easier for you. I'll just do it right here. But you want to take the orange, you want to take your microplane, and the recipe calls for zesting half an orange. And what that means is half of the surface area of the orange. It doesn't mean grind into the orange halfway, just half the surface area. And an important thing here with these is to notice that all I'm doing is zesting till I see orange. A lot of times people make the mistake when they zest and they go ahead and zest into the white, into the pith. And that's the bitter part of the citrus, and we don't want that into our scones. Now this is where you can adjust. If you want them to have more of an orange flavor, you can add more orange zest. If you want them to have less of an orange flavor, then just add less zest. So I'm here just kind of going through this while I'm talking. I'm at about half the orange. I'm going to do maybe one more run there so I get a really nice zesty flavor. And then go ahead and always make sure that you check the underside of the microplane. If you have anything there, you can take that off as well. And now, what we're going to do is put it back on stir, and we're just going to combine the orange zest and the cranberries and bring everything together. And once it starts to combine, that's where you can add your 12 ounces of heavy cream. So we just want to go ahead and slowly pour in. This is in a plastic container, so we're going to slowly pour in the heavy cream, and it's going to start to look like a dough. As soon as it kind of formulates together as a dough, you'll be able to shut down your mixer. Again, this is one of those recipes with the gluten that we don't want to overmix. So you can see that the mixer starts to whine a little bit, and it's brought everything together so we can shut it down. So now we want to form our scones to create the shape. We're going to make triangular scones. So we're going to take a pan, just an 8x8 or a 9x9, and just kind of lightly spray it with a little vegetable oil spray, and then cut a piece of parchment paper to put in the bottom. And we're not going to bake it in this pan. This is just to form it. You're going to take your dough that you made, your scone dough, and you're going to put it into the pan, and all you want to do is press it all the way down nice and even. So it's probably easiest, I just have a pair of gloves on. And what you can do is you can see how nice and soft the scone dough is. And it's just a matter of pressing it into the pan. And then what we're going to do is freeze that for a little bit, or freeze it overnight, just so it's firm. And then once it's firm, we're going to pop it back out, and then we're going to cut it into that classic triangular scone shape. We'll brush it with a little bit of milk, and we'll be able to sprinkle a little bit of sanding sugar on there as well. So what we're going to do again is just take your hands. Again, I have a pair of gloves on, and I'm just pressing the scone batter down because it's more like a dough, and just pressing it in there, all right, so that it's nice and even. Because this is what's going to happen is this is going to go in the freezer. It's going to firm up, and then we'll pull the pan out and we'll cut it so that we have our nice triangular scone shapes. So once your scones have been in the freezer and they firm up, you simply want to take them out, put them on your cutting board, Just kind of give them a little hit like that so they fall out, just like that. And then what you want to do is remember to take off the paper. And now what you have is a really nice square. We're going to cut that into our shapes. We're going to cut it in half, and you can either use a ruler or whatever. You can just kind of guesstimate. You can use a knife, or I like to use a bench scraper. So we just want to go ahead and cut. You want to cut it in half this way, like that. And then you want to cut each of those halves in half so you make pretty much 4 smaller squares. Then once you have each small square, you're going to cut that small square into 4 triangles for a total of 16. So I just cut that in half, all right, into 2 triangles, and cut those in half again. So I make a total of the 4 per quarter, or 16 all day. And that's really what gives them a really nice scone shape. And you don't have to bake your scones as triangles. Some people do them as a drop scone, like a drop biscuit. But there's something I really like about that traditional triangular shape. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and put them on the tray. And you can easily get 8 on a tray. So you take your parchment lined tray like this. And what you're going to do is just lay them on. I always put them on a little bit of an angle, as you see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's important, too, that when you put them on here, I'm doing them where this was the bottom up. So this is the nice smooth side. So you're putting that really nice smooth side up on your scones. And then once you have them all on the tray, all right, we'll move these off to the side here. Then it's a matter of finishing them before they go in the oven. And I'm just using ordinary whole milk and a pastry brush. And I'm just brushing a little bit of milk over top. And the milk's just going to aid in the browning process and make these scones look awesome. I'm just going to brush them over. And then after I finish brushing them, I'm just going to hit them with a little bit of sanding sugar. And if you don't have sanding sugar, you can use regular sugar. But I'm just going to go ahead and just sprinkle a little bit of that on there. And that's just going to make them look really good when they bake. And then as soon as I get all the sugar on, they're going to go in a 375-degree oven, and I'm going to bake them until they have a nice brown color and until they're done on the inside. So let's take a look at how our scones are doing in the oven. You can see that they're really starting to get there. They still got some more time. They're going to brown on the top, and they're not quite finished. But you can see how they hold the shape, but they're going to start to puff up. And that's really what's going to make them nice and soft in there. And that cream and everything's all going to work together, and we're going to have a really nice scone. So let's put these back in the oven and let them bake until they get a really nice brown on top. All right, so let's check out our scones. Ooh, they're looking beauteous. This is what we're looking for. You start to get light golden brown on the edges, a little color on the top. They got wonderful little shape. You can see that they rose up a little bit. And to tell if they're done, usually if you give them a little tap and they kind of spring back like that, they're good to go. If you're concerned if they're done, you can always break one open to make sure that they look done on the inside. But these guys are looking good. So here you can see the final product. I really love making scones because they have a really nice look to them. They have a nice texture, and you can do a lot with the flavor. This was cranberries with a little bit of orange zest. You could add chocolate chips or any kind of dried fruit, or you name it. You can get really creative with the flavor. So here you can see how you can make a really nice quick bread that didn't use the butter. It just used the flours and it used the fat from the heavy cream. Then you were allowed to add some mix-ins to really give it some nice flavors. So I'd like to thank you for baking with me today, and I can't wait to bake with you real soon right here in Mr. Polk's kitchen.